All right, QWorld, Marlin Blakeney here. Hope everybody's fine. Again, we're doing these Zoom podcasts, and we're trying to, help with this COVID-19 and make sure it's, something that everyone can be entertained and have some different venues of which they can reach out to and have some good insight and informational, educational things that empower you to make you want to be better. So today we are fortunate to have the man. He is this Coach Perry, Rodney Perry. He has been the AU National Coach of the Year award. He's coached at Avila College, done very well there, had some winning records, played Missouri State Bears basketball, went to the NCAA tournament, Final Four, and now he's here to give you guys some insight and welcome him to QWorld. Hey, thanks a lot. What's up, Coach Perry?
Thanks, Marlon. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Obviously, we're glad to have you on. And today, I think a lot of things are going on with COVID. It's changed the whole scope of what sports is. And, I'm a big sports fan. I played football, though, not basketball. Always wanted to play basketball, but that's football was just kind of my gift. But with everything going on, with COVID-19, it's changing how, obviously the NBA right now and what's going on. What are your thoughts, and ideas, and as far as the seasons go this summer, AAU, all that good stuff?
Yeah, it's unprecedented times, that's for sure. With the virus taking over, the world, and kind of putting things to a halt, especially the sports world and everything like that. And so, really, it's a difficult time for a lot of people losing jobs, getting laid off, and,
right.
Things like that, have to take pay cuts and, different things like that. So that's the difficult times. And hopefully, we pray, every day that, people's going to be able to pull through, and we'll get back to semi-normal before long, as well. And, I really feel bad for, high school athletes that have a dream and a desire to go play, at the next level, because in a way they're not getting the exposure and being able to get seen and looked at for their recruitment, to go on. And actually the one thing about even the NCAA, not having an NCAA tournament this year, is you normally find one or two, teams that make, Cinderella runs, and a player off that team normally elevates itself to, possibly being a draft pick, and things like that. So there's a lot of things that's going on that's actually, hampering and actually, causing some players not to even be, looked at the way that they would be if we had sports today.
No doubt. I was just, and it's funny about that. I was actually just talking to same thing with one of my ex-coaches a week ago, and he was a head coach at Michigan State, Coach Mark D'Antonio, and we were talking about the same thing. I mean, just to be more serious about this, like literally, like if I was a kid right now and I had a average junior year in high school, say last year I just had an average junior year, but my potential's way higher. Say I grow 4 more inches, 5 more inches, or whatever. My jump shot, inside outside game is better. I mean, the chances now for people to see me to go from Division III maybe to Division I are slim now. It's really hurt me, right? And as you said,
no question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's a great point. And even if a kid, because I know a couple kids that got injured their junior year of high school and wasn't able to play, their junior years. And those guys are Division I, caliber of players.
Right.
But no one's got a chance to see them play their junior year. And so no one's right now is getting a chance to see them in the spring or summer to see, okay, are they healthy? Are they back to form? Are they better than what they was before? So that's another example of, the kids that are being hurt by the virus also.
Right. No doubt. And then, right now, the way it looks, we may not even have a winter session next year. So, it really is. I mean, and I don't know. I think what's going to happen somehow, I don't know how you're going to do it, but we have to create something either through this way where we can see kids working out, or you have to change the recruiting game, right? How we judge kids and see kids and, you know, recruit them, I guess. I don't know what it is. You probably know better than I do, but they have to think of something coming if it doesn't have we don't have a season next year.
Yeah, right now the NCAA is doing everything it can to kind of keep pushing things back, but to try to, you know, have at least a session where some kids can get seen, you know, and stuff. Right now the NCAA has canceled all of their exposure events. They pushed the recruiting dead date back. Now it was May 31st. Now they're going to June 30th.
Gotcha.
And then they're going to reevaluate things for July, you know. But right now they're thinking maybe August or September at the earliest before, you know, any necessarily AAU events or any type of exposure events may even happen, you know. But even right now, even that's up in the air, you know, for kids to even be seen at that point in time.
Right. And that's even the next step, man. We even talk about college. The college athlete, like you said, it could go pro right now or has the opportunity to do that. It's even be hard for them to even move up in the draft or get a shot at the draft. Like you said, the Cinderella team and that player that shows out, which is always 2 or 3 that you didn't know about, that ball during the NCAA tournament. Now they're just out there waiting and crossing their fingers. Because again, like even now, like what do you think? What are you suggesting to your kids that are seniors now that want to maybe go to the draft or maybe have a opportunity? Are you telling them to attack being seen and getting exposure, and like how are you expressing that?
Well, right now the thing that, you know, I'm telling all the guys that, you know, were seniors this year and trying to go play, you know, professional and everything, you know, you gotta continue to work out every single day. Because you never know when, you know, something's going to happen or where they come up with something or where they may be able to work you out. And the worst thing you could possibly be is not prepared, you know, during that time, you know. So the one thing is right now, even with the virus and everything, you can still get out and run. You can still get out and work out on your own, you know, and stuff like that to kind of stay, you know, prepared. There's some places that are, some guys are able to go and find a gym or a goal or something to kind of work out on, you know, too. So that's the main thing that those guys are going to have to do is stay prepared for whenever the opportunity, you know, comes about for them to be able to go and actually get a workout in. And even right now, no one knows because even the NBA has pushed back, you know, their draft date and even for players to even withdraw from the draft. And that's indefinite right now because of the fact no one knows, you know, what's going to take place coming up, you know, in the future. But that's the thing is there's nothing that's, you know, going to look like it's going to be happening within the next month or so.
Right. You know, with these times, I got a good question I want to ask you just to get your thoughts on this as well. But because of the way things have happened, I think it's pushed technology faster, made it more advanced, more important today than it would have been if we had a normal setup and an original, you know, business structure or even NCAA or season structure is typical. What do you think the impact is, or do you even suggest? I mean, do you suggest these players now attack social media or start pushing their workouts or start showing something via social media to get their name out or to be seen or at least, you know, let people know? What do you think?
Well, right now it's going to be the best way to go about getting their information out and everything because, you know, there's no face-to-face contact. College coaches can't go out and see anyone. Kids can't come on campus to see, you know, any other coaches or anything like that either. And so, but the technology, even we've started to where we've been able to do Zoom calls with our recruits, you know, now is what we've been able to do. And so I would actually even say, for, you know, the kids to start recording their workouts and start putting that out there, you know, too. And because the thing that we've actually even had to do, you know, since all this stuff has happened is we've had to go and put together virtual videos for recruiting, you know, of our facilities, of our, you know, housing, all our campus and everything like that for the kids to be able to see because you can't come on campus to actually see any of it. So we had to have a way to be able to get it out there, and it has to work the same way from a recruit standpoint. Is they have to start with the videos and stuff to be able to get it, out to the college coaches too. But I would also suggest for those kids to have their high school coaches and their AAU coaches also reach out to the college coaches that they know of, and things too, because the relationships in this business is big time, and so that's the way that, a lot of the kids can help their recruitment too, is by their high school coaches and AAU coaches to help push them to the college coaches, so they can actually be seen that way.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's a whole different flip. I forgot colleges would have to do it so similar to what college kids are doing to be seen from high school to college and then from college to pro. The colleges are having to do that too, to be seen so they can get the recruits or aspire to get, the players they want. That's a whole different level. Flip with that, we'll stick with this college athletes deal. So what do you think about this whole deal with NCAA looking to, or have going through the process to finalize players getting paid for their likeness,
Well, I think it's, in one sense, it's a good idea. But on the other sense, I think they still have a long way to go to actually work out all the details and how it's going to work and how it's going to benefit everyone, too, and not make it to where, other teammates are going to be jealous of, other players that's on their team and things like that, too. And so, but I think they have to come up with a plan that's going to be fair, for everyone, involved, in it, to where everyone can look across and be like, okay, well, no one has an advantage over anyone else, as long as it's an equal playing field. And I think that's the biggest thing, is trying to find out how to keep it on an equal playing field all the way through each level.
Right. And you make a good point, because if you're in the locker room and you say me and you are players, and say you obviously came in, you balling this year, and getting your triple doubles, and I'm still a decent player. I'm hitting that big three and probably ended a couple games, won a couple games for us. But then you're getting a lot more publicity. Not only that, I'm starting to see you getting checks on your jersey, and I'm not getting nothing. That could really kill the team morale and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, no question. Because again, especially in that setting, that from a coaching standpoint, we always try to teach team. And not necessarily one person is bigger than the team.
Right.
And so once, that's a great point of, once that starts to happen, now does guys start to look at that person and be like, man, I'm not going to pass him the ball, or whatnot, because of the fact I need to start being able to get paid myself too. So I got to do more, to put myself in the spotlight, and take some of the light off of him, so that way I can start to boost my stock, and things like that. And so I just think that, if they have to come up with a way to be fair all the way across the board, otherwise it's going to even cause even more problems.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, that's good stuff. So let's go back to the beginning of how you got to be coaching and all that. So if I recall correctly, you were down in Arkansas, and you moved from Arkansas to, why did you move from Arkansas to Missouri State to play basketball? What was just talking to recruits, what was your thought process?
Well, the funny story is, when I was in high school, I had a cousin that played for University of Arkansas named Keith Wilson.
Okay.
And me and my mom was actually watching the Razorbacks play and watching him play on TV one day. Right. And while we were sitting there, I actually told my mom at that time that one day you're going to be watching me play, on TV.
Right.
And just like she always does, oh boy, shut up.
Yeah.
And so when it came for me to decide, which school that I was going to choose to actually go to, there was a few things that played in a big part of me going to Missouri State. Was one, the head coach, Charlie Spoonhour, And the junior college that I was at, West Start, our athletic director and Coach Spooner was college roommates.
Right.
And so it was almost like every day our athletic director would come and be like, Coach Spooner will call me about you today.
Right.
You know.
I guess.
And he was like, he loved his guards.
Right.
He had a reputation for playing small and letting his guards, just go to work, and everything. And so that was one thing there. And then the other thing was going back to the TV deal. When I saw their schedule every year, they had multiple games on ESPN.
Right.
And so my thought process was, I told my mom she's gonna be watching me play on TV one day, too.
Yeah,
and then, my ultimate goal was I wanted to win. I wanted to get to the NCAA tournament, win a championship. And I knew that with Coach Spooner's reputation in Missouri State, they had 7 straight postseason, play, too. So I knew that, going and playing for him, that we would have at least a shot at being able to win. But most definitely, I was going to play on ESPN, and I was going to be able to call my mom, that she was going to be able to watch me play on TV. But the thing was, our first ESPN game, it was on a Tuesday night, and my parents would normally come on weekends game. They couldn't come during the week because they had to work, and so I remember calling my mom my first ESPN game. Called her up. We played like a 7:05. I called her up about 5.
Right. Yeah.
Just asked. I said, "What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said that I'm getting ready to watch you play on TV.
What you thinking? Yeah.
I said, yeah, that's right. I said, I told you were gonna be watching me play on TV one day. And then she said, oh baby, I know you would. I said, no, that ain't what you said. On the deal. She said, I was just motivating you.
Right.
But that was, the main reasons why I chose Missouri State. And obviously when I went to go visit, it felt like home. And it wasn't too far from Arkansas for me to be able to drive on the weekends or whenever we had some time off, and things like that. But it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Right. I was able to, fulfill all my dreams. All my dreams were able to come true there, and it helped me be the person I am today.
Right. Because you guys had a strong run in the NCAA tournament. You guys were killing it back then. In the process of all that, so when you got done, obviously, everybody when they go to college, you may have said, I want to be on TV, you gonna watch me on TV, mama, but you was always saying, I'm gonna go pro too, because we all said that back in the day. High school, we all get to college saying we're going to pro. So what happened in the process from college and you guys doing really well, having winning seasons, to the next step? Did you want to play pro, or did you try, or what was your steps?
Yeah, I actually went to Finland for 2 and so, but the money back then wasn't like the money is now. And so I knew since I was pretty much basically 12 years old what I was going to do with my career as far as coaching goes, too, because I've been coaching since I was 12 years old. I started out at the Boys and Girls Club with my aunt. She's the one that actually got me, hooked into it and things. I was assistant coach for her, at 12 and 13 years old. And then at 14, the Boys Club gave me my own team, to actually coach.
Wow.
And then at 14 years old, I was I started out rinky-dink football was my first team that I had of my own. And we actually went undefeated and won a championship, that season there. And then we went from football and followed that up with basketball was the next thing that same year. And so I coached basketball. They gave me a team of my own for basketball. And we went undefeated and won the championship in basketball. Wow. And then baseball was the next thing.
Dang.
I coached baseball that same summer there, and we actually won the championship in baseball too. So I was like, oh man, I'm hooked. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
The trifecta.
So I actually started coaching AAU and stuff from there, even when I was in high school and stuff like that. And that was one of the things also. Then when it come time to choose the school and everything, when I talked to Coach Spoonhour, he said that he would help me, be able to get into coaching, too, at the college level, because that's what I told him that I eventually wanted to do, too. And so I actually knew that, 2 weeks being over there, not speaking the language, not knowing anyone, and everything like that. So I'm like, man, let me go back and go ahead and just get my, coaching career started, because I could make the same amount of money coaching by playing, back then. And they said that the sooner you get into the coaching, the better chance you have of moving up, and things like that. And so that's what I actually, done, went back and I started out, my first coaching high school experience was at Willard High School.
Oh, yeah.
In Willard, Missouri. It was I was the freshman. I started out as the freshman boys coach and assistant varsity coach is what I was. So I done that for the first 2 years, and then I was able to move up to Central High School in Springfield, where I was the head JV coach and assistant, varsity coach, and I did that for 3 years, and then I was able to land my own high school head coaching job myself at Purdy High School there in Missouri, before I got into the collegiate coaching the next year at Southwest Baptist University. And so, plus I had my own AAU program in Springfield, Missouri, that I started called the Springfield Rockets, that I ended up, getting a lot of the players and developing the players to where they was able to go and play on a collegiate, level too. And so actually that's how everything actually began, with building a network and being able to have people that, knew who I was and that I could count on and things like that to help me, over the course of my career, because of the fact of I helped so many kids be able to achieve their dreams that they wanted to do, to be able to go play college basketball.
Right. For all those coaches out there that are in college now and, playing sports, or even, these fathers out there thinking they want to learn to coach or be a coach, what are some things that you'd say they have to have internally, and the reasons why they need to do it to be successful at coaching?
Well, the first thing is going to be patience. The way society is today, anyway, everybody wants everything instantly. Too. And so one of my mentors was Nolan Richardson, who was the head coach at the University of Arkansas, Hall of Fame coach there too. And so when I talked to him and told him about me wanting to, coach on a collegiate level and things like that, his advice that, he gave to me was 3 things that I've always taken with me. He said, if you're going to be good at this level, you're going to have to be able to do 3 things really well. And that's communicate, motivate, and teach. Those 3 things right there. And so that has always stuck with me, too, to where, when I'm coaching my teams, I kind of over communicate things, too. So that way there's never any confusion of anything whatsoever. And then I'm constantly finding ways to motivate. And the thing that's tricky about the motivation thing is, and one of the things he taught me was, all your players are different. Back in the day, there were so many coaches that used to say, I treat all my players, the same. Nobody's different.
Yeah, that's right.
Type of deal. Where he was the first one that told me that you don't treat all your players the same, because they're not the same. He said what motivates one may do the opposite to another. Too. And so he said you got to get to know them on a personal level to figure out what motivates them, what makes them tick, and things like that. And so that part there was the tricky part of, learning how to motivate people, too. And I felt like I got pretty good at that. And then obviously the last thing is, being able to teach the game, as well. And I had the one fortunate thing about me, I've been blessed to be able to play for and work for great teachers of the game. And so I was able to learn quite a bit from them, to where I was able to take that and put it into my coaching style, my coaching philosophy, to where I was able to be able to teach at a high level, to where guys are able to understand what we're trying to get across to them also.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I think you Coach Nolan, he coined the 40 minutes of hell, when that what it was.
Yeah.
Woo, boy, I remember them days. It was all out too, boy. Full court press. Like,
Yeah.
come on, yep. Oh, that's awesome. So in all these realms of your coaching experience, I just through the research I've done, you just had a lot of success AAU wise. Talk a little bit about the difference between high school ball and AAU ball and the impact it has on the players moving.
Well, I would say the biggest difference in the high school level and the AAU basketball scene is the competition. In high school, there may be 2 or 3 good players, really good players on a team, and the rest of the guys are just okay, average type of players. Right. Where on AAU, pretty much everyone out there is a really good player, too. So it's kind of like the college level, is what it's like. And so the other thing that I feel like sometimes that some of the AAU programs get a bad reputation about is because people think of AAU sometimes as just roll the ball out and go play. Don't practice, don't work on fundamentals and things like that, which is quite the opposite for a lot of the programs out there that I know of anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that have made, myself and the programs that I've actually started and been a part of so successful is we practice just like college. Right. We watch game film just like college. We do scout reports just like college. So everything that we're doing, we do it just like that, what they're going to do at the college level, and stuff too. And so that's the biggest thing. And then I always tell our guys, when you go back and play at your high school, you need to go back with the mentality of there's nobody out here that I'm going to play with or play against that's better than the guys that I've played against and played with all spring and all summer. Right. So you should go out there and just be overconfident that, man, I am the best player on this floor every single time I step out here because of the competition that you have played against, the whole entire time, which is, kind of great now that The Last Dance has been doing this time right here, the documentary on MJ, because he has that same, mentality, too, of, hey, I'm just going to go out there and show everybody, that I'm the best player that's out here, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do to be able to stop me, and I'm going to bring my teammates along with me and elevate their game to another level, too. And that's the same message that we try to make sure we get across to, our guys when they go back to their high school teams. And that's why a majority of the time, they always end up being the best guys on their high school team also.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. I got a good question, but I want to reiterate some things you said earlier. I just think people don't understand, like, the reason you work out hard, and it's for families that have kids that are playing, or families that have kids that want to go play college or aspiring to be, more than a college player. It's if you can give them access and you can get them in the gym to work out and compete against players better than them, then the outcome, it's not like rocket science, right? Yeah. I mean, everybody can't be MJ, we know that, but you will improve and you will be better if you put yourself in a situation and you're prepared, right? I always believe like the word preparation is very important. Like the kids that are more successful have already seen it and done it. So when they get involved in it, they can adapt and go with it. So, and do better. So that's kind of where I'm at.
That's actually a great point. Because even with our AAU program in Kansas City called MoCam that we have that's sponsored by Nike, one of our disclaimers that we actually put out when we go and recruit players, is the fact of our players as freshmen in college, they average 21 minutes a game. Right. Wow. As a freshman, that's actually really, really, really good.
It's real good. Yeah.
We contribute that to the fact of everything that we do is already just like college. So they're prepared once they get there. So it's nothing new. And they always call us back up and be like, hey, coach, we got, these other freshmen, they don't even know what a shell drill is supposed to do.
Yeah.
For, years and years and years, they haven't ever done it a day in their life, and things like that. So that actually even helped our guys feel even more confident that, hey, I definitely was prepared when I got here. So their confidence level is so high that they feel like they can just go out there and play from the time they get on campus.
Right. No, that's huge. You know, and I want to dive back into this AAU deal. You just, you know, explaining things so well. And I think the listeners will really get a lot out of this. But explain to the listeners, like, say I'm a mom or dad. I have a son. He's 14, 15, or 16. And wow, every time I go to these AAU, like, you know, these facilities, I mean, there's U15, there's U17, there's, you know, the Ultimate League, there's USA. Like, how do you break these down, the levels and where these kids are and exposure they get based off the levels so that the families can understand?
Yeah, well, the 17U is the biggest stage for recruitment nationwide outside of USA basketball. I was blessed and fortunate to be able to coach USA basketball for the last few years,
right.
You know, and everything too. And that's even on a whole nother, you know, level, you know, there too, because it's the best of the best of the best,
right.
You know, and you're not USA, you're not only just playing, you know, local, you're going, you know, overseas and playing against the best, you know, over there also, you know, so, but the 17U is the biggest exposure as far as AAU wise go. And that's where a lot of the college coaches, pretty much every, you know, college coach is going to go around and watch some of the 17U's games across the country,
Gotcha.
You know, to be able to see, you know, players, and that's the biggest exposure. And then obviously it trickles down from there at 16U and 15U. And then there's always been guys that's been really, really good that actually may have been a 15U, but they played up on a 17U, or they was a, you know, a 16U and they played up on the 17, you know, U team, you know, too, because again, that competition is the highest competition, you know, that's out there. And then Nike actually created the EYBL league, which basically the top players in the country plays in the EYBL, You know, and so, you know, real quick, guys get a chance to find out how good they really are against the best, you know, too. And so just like what we was when we was growing up, you know, we tell guys all the time, if you want to find out if you have a chance to be a pro or not, play in that league right there.
Right.
And then you find out real quick, you know, if you got a chance to be a pro, you know, or not, because there's going to be, you know, lottery picks in that league every single, you know, year, you know, and stuff too. And so, you know, I've been fortunate enough to be able to, I have 9 players right now that's currently playing, you know, in the NBA, you know, that I, you know, was fortunate enough to be able to coach, you know, too. And so I'm able to actually tell guys, you know, the difference about those guys, what I felt like separated them from other guys who actually say they want to be pros to guys that actually are pros, you know, too. And so that's the thing that you'll find out quite a bit is a lot of players that say they want to be pros, they don't want to work to be a pro. They just want it to come, you know, and that's not going to happen. You know, just like anything in life, that's you put the hard work in, then the results are going to actually come, you know, to it. But that's probably the biggest, you know, things about the different age group, 15U, 16U, 17U, you know. But I always tell parents this too, because the minute that, you know, a player may get in one of those settings and they didn't have instant success, they run and go and want to do, you know, something else on a different team or something like that, which all you're doing is just hurting your kids is what you're doing, you know, instead of teaching them, hey, you got to stick it out. You got to fight and find a way, you know, to push through, and then you'll get rewarded, you know, from the whole thing, instead of you running and going and trying to find a quick fix, you know, type of deal. And so that's the thing I always tell people is, you know, hey, you know, the grass ain't green on the other side, you know, just because you go over there, you're still going to have to work for it, you know, too. And so sometimes take the challenge, you know, on the deal. And I always tell people, you know, like we talked about the documentary, Michael Jordan got cut, you know, as a 9th grader, you know, and he ended up being the best, the greatest of all time, you know, and stuff like that. So if he can get cut, you know, why is it that your son can't or your daughter can't work through, you know, some some trial and tribulations, type of deal, and then come out on the other side and let that motivate them, to become better and work harder, on it. So I just feel like that's a mistake that a lot of the parents make too with their kids is, they want that instant gratification. If they're not getting, then they're going somewhere else and trying to find it somewhere else.
Right. That's so true. And that hurts them quite a bit. Great point there. So so let's go back to the MOCAN and just explain to the world what MOCAN is and where it's at, and then also talk a little bit about some of the athletes that have come through there you've coached that may be playing in a pro or whatever.
Yeah, MOCAN is a AAU organization out of Kansas City, based out of Kansas City, Missouri, the metro area, and it's called MOCAN because it's, split Missouri and Kansas, too. And we have, a lot of the kids in the area that plays for, the organization, plays in the EYBL, in which, MOCAN is, we always tell our guys, especially with recruiting, we're different from all the other teams in the EYBL, because we actually had to earn our way into the EYBL, opposed to Nike finding some teams to actually just sponsor and stuff. When Nike, back in 2010, Nike decided they had, a spot left that they was trying to fill for the EYBL, because it was 40 teams and they had 39, so they needed the 40th team. And so they came up with a brilliant idea of, well, let's just have like a national tournament, and whoever wins the tournament, that's who gets the Nike sponsorship deal.
Right.
Well, there's so many teams out there in the country that wants to get a Nike sponsorship deal, and so everybody, and their grandma signed up for the tournament, to play in. And then, we was fortunate enough to be able to win the tournament and actually win the sponsorship. And then from there, everything kind of have taken off, and then like even on that first team that we was actually, because we had a mixture of our 16U and 17U, we just took our best players and put them all together to put it in the tournament, too. And some of the big names on that team was Willie Culley-Stein, who now plays for the Dallas Mavericks, who spent a lot of years in Sacramento when he first got to the league, got drafted by. Shimmy Ojale, who plays for the Boston Celtics, now was also on that team, too. And then from there, like I said, it just kind of took off. But really, our first NBA guy was Alec Burks, who actually kind of set the tone for our program, too. And Alec was a great example because, he actually had tried out before we actually even started our organization. He actually had tried out for another shoe company team in Kansas City and actually ended up getting cut by them. Wow. And so he ended up coming and playing with us. And then he ended up being, a lottery pick.
Wow.
Sometimes too, use those things as motivation, too. But he was the one who actually set the tone, for the rest of the guys who followed. And then from there, we've kind of had, last year at the draft was a big year for us. I was fortunate enough to be able to be at the draft because we had three of our players, three of my players were actually drafted with, Trey Young, Michael Porter Jr., and Shake Milton. All got drafted in the same draft. And so that was a pretty fun year for us, as far as that there goes. And then this past year, via free agent, Juwan Morgan, who played in Indiana, who basically, got a G League deal to start off with. And then about a month into the G League, the Utah Jazz was like, hey, we got to sign this guy and bring him up to our main team. Wow. And so he was able to, sign with Utah Jazz and been playing with Utah Jazz this year, as well. And so, it's been kind of fun just following those guys' careers. And obviously right now, Trey was all-star, this year,
oh my God.
Too. And, just being able to, look at those guys and knowing that, we was able to help those guys actually, fulfill their dreams and their goals was very, very special for us.
Right. Man, you talking about players, man. You named off some big time players. That's amazing. Isn't it? So I mean, so you were gonna say earlier, where you were talking about that, the difference between those players that made it to the NBA. Like, what is it? Is it in? So what do you think it is? Like, I always look at players. I'm like, God, that kid has so much talent, but
Mm-hmm.
he don't have that drive to get it. Like, what do you say to those? What is the difference? I'm still trying to figure out, is it mental? Is it, what is it?
It's definitely mental,
Mm-hmm.
to start off with, too. And the thing that I tell everyone about those guys that were so different from other players that I've coached that says that they want to be pros and didn't make it, was, I always say this to guys. Those guys was pros before they became pros.
Okay.
They had a pro mentality. They had a pro work ethic, already. And you take a guy like a Trae Young, because people ask me about Trae all the time. What was it like to coach, Trae, and things like that? And I said it was great, because Trae wanted to be the best that he could possibly be. He was always constantly absorbing everything that we told him to make him better, and stuff. And then, his work ethic was off the chart, too. Plus, he was a professional before he was a professional. He would go hang out with, the Westbrooks and Kevin Durant's and things like that. Like, he was already, a pro. He was just in high school, and stuff. But he felt like, man, this is me. This is who I am, and things. And so when he got there, it was no adjustment for him, at all, except for the fact of, the travel schedule and 82 games that they actually play.
Right.
And stuff. But those guys, I said all the time, those guys are pros before they actually become pros, too, especially with their work ethic. And that's the biggest separation from guys. And you can kind of tell right off the bat who's going to be a pro.
Right. No, I like it. No, that's awesome. So what are the next steps for Coach Perry? Like, where are we going to see you? Where you want to be? Where you want to go?
Well, myself personally, I just go wherever God leads me.
Right.
And so he already has my life mapped out. I just, go wherever he says go and do the things that he says do. And so I've been so blessed and so fortunate to be, able to even, right now today, coach Division I college basketball at the collegiate level,
right.
And things like that, where there's so many, coaches that would love to be, where I am and doing the things that I, am doing, and even less than that, even with the USA, opportunity that I've been able to do, too. And so, man, basketball has taken me places I never would have been able to dream of even going. We just played this past year down in the Bahamas in the tournament there. A couple of years ago, we went to St. Thomas.
Wow.
Too. And so went to Hawaii a few years ago, and things like that. So, I mean, it's been unbelievable experience for me, and stuff. And so, but, right now I'm grinding every day to still continue to be the best that I can be and can get better and better. Because the thing even about me is, I always have that same pro mentality, just like the players do, too, where I believe I am the best, and so I'm just waiting for someone to give me the opportunity to be the head coach at this level, to run a program and show them how good I really am, too, if that's what's God's plan, but I'm staying prepared because I always mess with my guys and tell my guys all the time anyway, you have to be prepared for the opportunity, even if you don't have the opportunity, because at some point in time when you get the opportunity, you got to make sure you're ready for it, too. And so that's the thing that I always try to make sure that I'm ready for any opportunity that comes my way.
So if you can, just let everybody know where you at now as far as coaching, where you're coaching at Division I. And then
right now I'm at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, assistant coach there. We just finished our first season this year here at University of Missouri, Kansas City. We was having a pretty good year until everything came to a halt, because we just finished our first year and we had the second winning season that the schools had in the last 19 years.
Wow.
Too. And that was, with us not being able to play conference tournament and postseason play, as well. But right now we're looking forward to trying to build on the year that we've, had the first from year 1 to year 2 and even be better this next year than what we was last year, too. And so, so I'm pretty excited, about especially being in Kansas City and because this is a program that I actually played against when I was playing, too. And actually, they actually recruited me to come and play before I chose Missouri State, also. And then my AAU program is based out of Kansas City, too. And so I spent a lot of years in Kansas City when I was a head coach at Alva University. And then I coached a year in the ABA for the Kansas City Stars, too. And so Kansas City is like my second home, to me anyway. And so I love Kansas City, and there's no place I'd rather be.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it. So for the fans here, and there's a lot of people in Kansas City. No, obviously the Kangaroos and UMKC. But for all those that are busy and haven't had time, but now they do have time, obviously, and are listening to this. Name some of the players or some key players to watch out for coming up this next season that you feel are going to be impactful to the team winning next year?
Yeah, most definitely. Everything's going to start with our point guard next year, Brandon McKissick. He's from St. Louis, and the one thing about BMAC is what we call him, is that he's a highly competitive guy with a great motor. He had a great junior year this past season, and now he's going into his senior year, so we're expecting great things from him. We have a sophomore, Josiah Alec from Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, who actually ended up starting probably the last 15 games for us last year as a freshman.
Oh, wow.
We're expecting big things from this next season, also. And then we also have some guys returning from last year's team that played a big role in our success, with Marvin Nesbitt coming back for his senior year. Frank Camgain, who is actually a local product of Kansas City, will be back for his junior year this year. Zion Williams from New York will be back for his senior year. That we're going to lean heavily on those guys to actually play big minutes for us and perform at a high level.
Zion, we got another Zion out there. Okay. That's awesome.
But Zion, he's an Army switch knife. He does a little bit of everything, for us too. And so, but we really feel, great about, the direction that the program is headed, the direction that, our guys mentally are right now, and, where we can actually take this program to. Because the thing that Coach preaches all the time to our guys is we could be the first, because there hasn't been any other UMKC team that's ever played in the NCAA tournament, made it to the NCAA tournament. So that's our goal. That's what we plan on, doing in our time, here at UMKC, is being the first team to ever play in the NCAA tournament for the Kangaroos.
Right, man. That's awesome. And I know based off of your history and your success, you definitely will be there. You might. I don't care if you have to put your shoes back on again. You go get.
So, I have championship rings as a player. I have championship rings as an AAU coach. And I said, I'm just missing a championship ring as a collegiate coach is what I'm missing now. And so that's the goal. We're not going to stop till we make that dream become a reality.
I got you. So this recruiting season for those athletes, especially in the Kansas City area, because, I think it's very important. I think a lot of people don't know this, but schools that are recruiting know this. It's very important to get the talent in your home area, in your state, right? And the benefit for you guys kind of got Missouri and Kansas together, so you get to choose. But what are some things that you would say to the athletes, and what type of athletes you're looking for this coming season to be successful?
Yeah, and actually that's the thing right now too, because with the virus stuff, I have a feeling that a lot of the recruitment is going to be locally done, with a lot of programs, because they're familiar with the kids in their area. The kids are familiar with their programs that's in their area also. and especially with, players not being able to go on campus and check everything out, too. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of the kids actually end up going with their note, and staying locally, too. And so for us, that's one of our big things anyway, is we want to build our program with a lot of the local, products in the area.
Right.
And stuff. And by me having all the ties with the AAU programs and things like that, I kind of know pretty much all the kids in the area, especially the ones that are recruitable athletes for us, to kind of get ahead of everybody else, that's out there to come in and try to recruit those guys and stuff like that. And our athletic director, he's really big on making sure that we get our local products, keeping them home instead of having them have to go anywhere else, and they can get the same exact things, here at home, as well as being able to have their families there at every home game, and they actually even be able to go watch some of their away games, too. But it's nothing like being home, and so especially when you start winning, too,
True.
family and everybody at the games and, cheering for you, and then that atmosphere just becomes, so crazy, for you too. And then being able to go celebrate, after the games with your friends and family, too. And so that's one of the biggest things I feel like is going to be, a lot of coaches are going to look for, especially recruit more locally than ever before.
Right. No, that's a good point. That's a real good point. Well, I know you got a lot of things going on, Coach, and everything you've done, and your time-wise, I know you're busy. So I really appreciate, you coming on and sharing your story and your passion and history with QWorld, because I feel like the thing that's missing in the world is there's so much information out there, but there's not enough educational, empowering, information to make people learn to be better and to do better. And that's kind of what our goal is to just show that side of social media, not the negative stuff, and make things better. I know you're going to do very well. QWorld is a fan of you and also the Kangaroos, so you got our love. If the players or people want to reach out to you, do you have a Twitter, or you want to your Instagram? You want to share?
Yeah, I have my Twitter, which is basically I think it's Rodney Perry 14.
Gotcha.
At UMKC.
Gotcha.
So, and I'm very easy to find, too, and it's the same on Instagram also. But definitely come out and check us out, and we definitely want you guys' support, and appreciate every minute of it. And anytime that we can be of help with anything, don't hesitate to reach out. We're always willing to help any way that we can.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And then you can reach us at QWorld. We're at Q_World Podcast on IG, Facebook. We're at QWorld. And we also have a YouTube channel. It's QWorld. It'll be QWorld Rodney Perry on there. And then we also on Apple Podcasts. So it'll be QWorld as well for that. We thank everybody for coming. Subscribe to all the channels. Follow us. We'll have a lot more coming. And I'm hoping next year during the season we'll be able to follow up as you guys start winning and taking things over. And don't go anywhere, but I'll be right. We want to say peace out to QWorld. Hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.